wolf pen for the first time in a car, I think, ever. I don't know if I've ever been on this road in a car. I think I have, well, you know what? I have in a truck, because when Nico crashed his Panigale up here, I was over doing some off-roading in my first Silverado Z71, and got the call from Boston. It's like, hey, Nico crashed, which was weird because we were just talking about him riding up in the rain in the fall with wet leaves everywhere. We're like, he's totally going to crash. And then 10 minutes later, I got the phone call that he went down. Luckily, he wasn't hurt. The bike was totaled out for the most part, though. But anyway, somebody managed to get it over there to TWO. So I was with, I think, Jim. We were up going a little off-roading on something Trey Mountain Road, I think it was, north of Helen. It's not gnarly off-roading, anything crazy, but yeah, just going up there, a little bit of mud, a little bit of climbing, stuff like that. So we came through and cut across Wolf Pen. But as far as being in a car or anything like that, I want to say maybe I once ran it like 14 years ago. I had a Honda Accord V6, not a sports car, but you know, fairly good handling little car and decent power at the time. But it's been a long time. We're not going to go anything crazy, which I just don't in a car, because it's like, on a bike you can low side and crash. Not that you, I mean, you can get more hurt on a bike than a car, but as far as the damage to the bike, you can only do so much, you know, unless you're going really high speeds and stuff. And if I were to, you know, go 50 through a 35 in a turn or something and lost the front end for whatever reason, hit a patch of gravel, it's gonna suck. But unless I smack into a tree, you know, I'm gonna be relatively okay in gear, maybe a little banged up, maybe you break something, maybe you don't, but for the most part you tend to walk away from those. And then the bike is, you know, but at least the bike is a toy, and I've got other toys in the garage. You go smashing up your brand new car, that's a much bigger problem, cost-wise and otherwise. So, and that's part of why I've got this, because I could go have fun, but not have to go, you know, the speeds you go to make the bike really work and fun. You're going fast. And you're more a part of it. You know, you're leaning the bike, you're doing all that kind of stuff. In the car, it feels faster than it does on the bike. Like the bike, you could go through that turn in like 90, and it doesn't feel like you're going that fast. If I take that turn at 90, I'm going 55 right now. So I'll slow down to 50, tip it in. You feel the G's more to the side, and you know, if you run a little wide on a bike, if you're hitting the apex, you got the whole width of the road, right? If you had to run wide, or if you want to accelerate out of the turn and it starts driving you towards the outside of the turn, but you got that whole lane to move. Well, in a car, you don't, right? You've got, if you're in the middle, you've got a foot on either side, and that's it. So you have very little room if you start to slide or run wide or any of that stuff. So in a car, there's a little bit less room for error. On the bike, you might think the consequences are worse, because if you slide or whatever, you hit the ground, whereas the car, you might not. But just a different experience. So, I don't know what parts I'll edit this out. But I guess at this point, I'm going to turn off the camera, stop wasting battery, and wait till we get to the actually twisty bits. Oh, I pulled over and I talked to that guy. Really nice guy, older guy, probably, I'm guessing maybe in his late 50s. So he's not new to riding, but he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm just taking it easy. My reflexes aren't what they used to be. He's like, I saw you back there, but you weren't crowding me, you weren't obnoxious. He's like, you stayed a couple car lengths back, and we weren't running that fast anyway. He's like, a couple points I thought I was going to turn, I thought about turning off and letting you pass me, but I was like, yeah, I kind of hope you would. I said, no worries. I said, normally I'm up here on a bike. And I said, I would have just passed you. I said, but I didn't really I would have had to pull a dick move to pass you in a car on that road. There's a couple spots I could do it, I said, but it'd probably scare the hell out of you, and it would be cutting it close, and if someone came around the turn, we'd be in trouble. So I said I just sent him back. But really nice guy. Apologized if I came across as aggressive. He was like, no, you're fine. He's like, I'm just riding slow. So we had a laugh over it. The one thing I did say, I said, do you have a are you open to just something I noticed as I'm following you? I was watching, very closely what you were doing. He's like, yeah, sure. And I told him about, get up on the balls of your toes. He's like, well, he's like, I got the size 13 shoes, and I'm always worried that my foot's going to hit the exhaust or something. I go, yeah, I said, I get that. I said, just, when you're cruising down the highway, it doesn't matter, whatever. I said, but you're not running a high lean angle, but you still came a couple times where your foot was almost skimming the ground. I said, and it might just hit and catch, or skim and slide a little bit, and it might bother you. I said, but if there was like a little dip in the road or something that caught your foot, he's like, yeah, busted foot. I go, yeah. I said, it may feel weird to do that. I said, but when you're in the twisties, get up on the balls of your toes. I said, it'll help your body position, and it'll keep your feet away. I said, you're wearing sneakers. You have no foot protection whatsoever. You'll break bones in your foot, your ankle, everything. So, anyway, other than that, he was very cool. Had a little talk with him. So let's see. This road we've got to be careful on also, because this is one of the roads that Georgia State Patrol has been upping their patrolling on. So we're going to stay close to the speed limit and just have a little fun. Luckily, the road up here is so twisty that in a car, you could just run the speed limit. Just don't slow down. Stay at the speed limit, and you can actually have a lot of fun. It's definitely a very, very tight, twisty road, and in some areas, there's not real room for error. You can go, you got a foot or two of gravel, and then it may drop off 20 feet or more down into a ravine, and there's no guardrail. So Wolfpen Gap is a very fun, technical little road, but there's oftentimes gravel if there's been rain up here. Wintertime, just stay off it, because Georgia doesn't get a lot of snow, but they do get freezing rain and some snow up here. I think I'm gonna drop down to manual just so I can keep it in my power band. And then use engine braking a little more. Popping and crackling. Yeah, paddle shifters are kind of fun. The auto does a really good job if you're riding aggressively. As soon as you just kind of cruise a little bit, then the ECU thinks, oh, okay, you're just, even though I'm in Sport Plus mode, it's like, oh, okay, let me get up to a higher gear, bring the RPMs down, conserve fuel. But if you want to kind of keep it in the power band, force it, put it in manual mode. And that will not shift unless I tell it. I can just control my downshifts. A little bit of slide in there. Couldn't tell if it was the front or the back. downshifts on this are quick and pretty aggressive. The upshifts are not as fast in manual mode. Not sure why. Yeah, but being able to use the engine braking is great. So I'll be sitting there smelling my brake pads by the time I get to the bottom of the hill. What I'll probably do this time is cut these up into separate videos. So we'll do 60, then here on Wolfpen. And I don't know, maybe I'll go down Blood Mountain. I'm way faster on the roads on a bike than I am in a car. However, I will say in some of these turns, I mean, these are hairpin turns. And the bike, I can brake a lot later, and I can accelerate. Just, there's not a car that I've ever been around that's going to keep up with a bike on acceleration like that. But I will say in the turns, some of these really tight turns, I'm noticing that I'm taking them a little bit quicker in the car than I would, just because I know I've got a lot more lateral grip. Even with these run flats, I want to get some Pilot Sport 4s or something on here, then a little bit wider profile. That'll be even better. But like this turn is super sharp, and if you get it wrong and you go straight, it's 100 feet down. Hopefully one of those trees will catch you, but there's no guardrail. You're gone. So I'm not as worried. I know that unless I'm going stupid fast, I'm not going to get so much understeer that I'm going to fly off that hill. Triumph Tiger, nice. This is a lot of fun. I like this. In a car, I mean, I prefer the bike. But definitely the paddle shifters on this road are the way to go. You got all that engine braking. I'm not really having to brake a lot. Just ease up off the gas. Traction control, man, just kicks right in. As soon as I feel that back end start to come around, it just picks it up, puts it back. Yeah, in this section, even with these run flats, I could definitely run a faster overall pace. I think I would leave me on my bike behind. Now, by the time I got to those twisty bits, the R1 would have been so far out ahead from the faster first section that has more like longer straightaways and sweepers. I would have built up a buffer. I'm not sure if I would catch myself by that time. But once we get up into these twisty bits, not saying that you can't go faster on a bike. It's only just so fast I'm willing to go on a bike through here. Just because if you go down and you slide somewhere and you go into like a field, it's one thing. But you go down here, gravel, always in that turn. You're going off a ravine. Like you're gonna be messed up. This side's where I got pulled over with Dean and Bill going through here. Guy in a blue Mustang goes by, flashes me. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Doing 55 and a 45, whatever. Didn't realize it was a 35. And so I come around this turn, and right here, GSP goes by me. And I didn't even slow down. I was like, I'm not going that fast. And then I see him immediately just whip around. And yeah, chased us down, pulled us over right up here. Not chased, we weren't running. So I think I'm gonna go up and down Blood Mountain. So I'm gonna pause this, so I'm gonna stop it here and start a new video. We'll do all separate videos. Otherwise it'd take forever to process and upload.